Hello, and welcome to this episode of Hospitality Talks, where I am joined by Mark Fulton, who is the Ops Director for Leased, Tenanted, and Managed for Wadworth. And I am over the moon to be having a conversation finally about licensees and how we support them. Mark, for anyone out there who you haven't met, who doesn't know you, doesn't know Wadworth, could you please just do a little bit of an introduction?
Of course, I will do. Good morning, Katie. Thank you very much for having me on. We look after 125 leased and tenanted businesses and 19 managed, predominantly across the south and west of England. As Wadworth, we also have an amazing brewery based in Devizes. We moved into our new home a couple of years ago, still in Devizes. And we have a range of amazing Wadworth traditional ales and Folly Road keg product. Folly Road keg products.
Ridiculous. Lovely. Okay, fantastic. And what's your background, Mark? Because you've been there quite a while, haven't you, in my knowledge?
Yeah, so I joined in September 2021, so 4.5 coming up to 5 years. And before that, I was at Fuller's for 17 years, where I was lucky enough to work my way up from a member of our bar staff up to head of hotels, and I left there in May 2021.
So pubs, born and bred then.
Yeah, I've been in them a long time. Absolutely love them. Wouldn't do anything else.
So in that case, you are probably the right person for me to be speaking to about how we as an industry, but also you specifically support your business partners, which is what you call your licensees. Tell me a little bit about how that relationship between Wadworth as a pub company and your business partners as obviously sort of entrepreneurial, almost business owners themselves. How does that relationship work?
So I think the relationship word is one of the key places to start because I think historically, and occasionally we probably fall into it a little bit still, is there are two relationships we have with our business partners. One is as landlord, and we collect rent and we own the properties, and one is as their key drink supplier, where we should be supporting them to drive their business. We should be supporting them with amazing drinks range. We should be doing everything to understand them, their customers, their business, to drive the business forward. And it's really important that we retain both of those relationships because you can, or we have in the past, you can fall into one of them more than the other. And our business partners want to be supported to drive their business forward, to help them make more money. They don't, yes, they do want to work underneath a beautiful property that doesn't have any leaks and all of that, but they need to, that's just the basics. That's like Wi-Fi in pubs. That's nothing to advertise anymore. That's the basics.
Yeah.
What we need is the ability to help them drive the businesses forward.
And so you are part of the Licensee Index, TLI, which
Yeah.
CAM runs and has done for donkey's years now. How do you listen to what your business partners need? I mean, I know you use TLI really well. It's been,
Yeah.
we know the pub companies that use it really well, and that is pretty much all of them. And I know how you use it at Wadworth, but how else do you get that feedback and how do you act upon it?
So we used the licensee feedback at Fuller's when I was there. So when I arrived at Wadworth, I already knew what it was, and I think 2022 would have been my first set of results, which would have been a bit of a free hit for me, really, because I was brand new into the job. I hadn't been here very long. I took over leased and tenanted a year after joining Wadworth, and therefore it was an opportunity to hear what all of our business partners have said about us
Mhm.
and then learn from it. And what came across really loud and clear is that we were a really nice, lovely company with some absolutely great relationships, but we weren't as good at that real sort of deep, fundamental business driving element of it. And as I dug deeper into the research in that first year and a little bit in the second year, it became apparent that our three, we call them RDMs, ops managers, area managers, BDMs,
Yeah.
our three RDMs were brilliant with our business partners. They understood them, they were great with them, they built up brilliant relationships with them, but we weren't giving our RDMs the right tools and enough tools to help those business partners drive the business forward.
So to sort
So
of fundamentally help them to bring footfall and bring sales, etc.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And it is really hard for the RTMs to help drive the business forward if we as a company aren't giving them enough tools to do it.
Mhm.
And I think with the results we get from the CAM survey is I think it's really important to take a holistic view of all of it, and then drill down into the bits that are super relevant because there's so much information in there.
Mhm.
But my view is that even if one business partner is saying it,
Mhm.
it is worth listening to and it is worth considering. Now, if only one business partner is saying it, I might not deploy all the resource in the world to fix that one problem, and the answer might be no. And I
Yeah,
might give a really clear view of why the answer is no, I'm not going to do that.
yeah,
But we heard quite loud and clear at that time when I arrived that we had a challenge around our drinks range.
right.
And it was no great surprise. We were moving from a brewery that had a warehouse twice the size of the warehouse we're in now.
Mhm.
So when I arrived, we had to streamline that. We had to
Yeah,
cut down a load of products. And some of our keg products were being stocked by three, four, or five business partners, which is lovely. And that's very nice for them. But it wasn't commercially sensible going forward. So we had to make some really tough decisions. But what the CAM survey then reminded us of once we were in the new brewery in 2022 is that that drinks range has to evolve, it has to develop. You can't just stick with what you've got. And it continually made us think about that as just one of the things I pick out from the early CAM results that were really beneficial to me to help me understand what these 125 businesses that my predecessor knew inside out, but I was brand new to.
yeah,
I was now being able to hear what they were saying. And of
yeah,
course, I ran some focus groups. I heard what some of them had said, but here's another way to wrap all of their feedback up in a way that's really easy to digest. And then we can pick which bits of
yeah.
it, because we weren't going to solve everything in year one,
No.
but we could then pick which bits of it we were going to focus
Or
on
even year
bit by
two, year
bit.
three, year
Or
four. The
even year
fact
two or year
is,
three.
yeah,
Exactly, Katie.
the pub industry is notorious for sometimes being a little bit slow to act. But I must say, in the years since I created TLI, a previous agency, um, the actions that I've seen come from pub companies in response to TLI it's been wonderful. And of course, you've got the benchmarking ability because people always say, "Oh no, I think we're really good at that." We're like, and then they say, "Oh, we get rated 8 out of 10." But what if all of your compatriots or competitors are being rated 10 out of 10? So I think that's a positive for it as well as the benchmarking.
And I think that the thing with the benchmarking is there's different elements to look at it because we can benchmark against the other family brewers.
Hmm.
We can benchmark against other elements that are being asked about that year, and we can benchmark against ourselves from previous years.
Yeah.
So there are so many different layers to it.
Hmm.
And as I say, there is so much detail.
Hmm.
From my perspective, we just needed to take what are the um, main areas that we need to focus on
Yeah.
and then look at them year by year. And one of the other things, and I'm a nightmare for always trying to pick out the problems in it. But actually, there are some real positives in there. I'm one of those people that'll be like, I listen to the positives and then, yeah, that's great. But what are the five things we need to work on? But actually, when you stop and look at some of the positives in there, and right from the beginning, and it's carried on through, for example, our customer service team,
Hmm.
the team that take the orders, the team that deal with the deliveries, the team that deliver the beer to the pubs, they have always scored really well. And it's really important at that moment to take a breath
Yeah. Yeah.
and acknowledge them.
Yeah.
And that was really powerful going to our customer service team year on year and saying, just so you know, the
Yeah.
TLI results have come out and you guys have smashed it again. And our
Again.
business partners are
Yeah.
saying again how great you are. And that's hugely powerful to be
Yeah.
able to do that. I can walk in there and say, thanks again for a really good week. That's great. And they'll go, okay, that's nice.
Yeah. But to
But
hear it from the people
to
they're
hear it from the
actually
business
servicing.
partners,
Yeah.
and they're potentially overachieving against other customer service teams and delivery teams and logistics teams across the. So, yes, I will focus on the bits that need work because
Yeah.
that's naturally what a lot of us do in this industry. That's the way
Yes,
it
we do.
is.
Yeah.
But to take a breath and celebrate it. And in recent years, our property team, so property took a bit of a beating in some of those early reports.
Yeah. I
And
remember. Yeah.
but we hired a a new head of property. We hired an extra surveyor because we had one surveyor that was looking after the whole estate, which was, he did a great job, but that's too big an
Too
estate to look
much.
after for
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
person. So adding that extra resource, and now in recent years, one of the biggest areas of improvement is the way we look after our property and our property help desk team and our property team. And
Yeah.
that is just, that's 2, 3 years of progress from
Yeah.
something that TLI has told us that we've then managed to
Yeah.
improve on since then. And then we see the business partners commenting on it, which
Yeah.
just is so powerful. It's great.
And how do you get the best out of your licensees, out of your business partners? Because I think that there there can be a leaning, not with Wadsworth, by the way, but with the pub industry in general, to not there's a dichotomy, isn't there? Because there's the idea of treating them like they are independent business owners, but also, like you say, you're their drink supplier and you're their landlord. How do you combine that to get the best out of your licensees?
So the fundamental piece at the heart of it is the RDMs. And
Yeah,
I'm lucky enough to have 3 great RDMs because the bit I spoke about earlier about relationships and us being a very nice, lovely company that cares and listens, that can't go away.
yeah, no,
That empathy towards the licensees and what they go through. And our RDMs spend lots of time listening about challenges that our business partners have had with their children or with their spouse or with their partner or with something else that's going on at home. And that trust and that empathy is the cornerstone for
yeah,
what makes the relationship work. And then from then, that enables you to then push those business partners on.
yeah,
Because lots of our business partners, they are very entrepreneurial. They know how to run a pub.
yeah,
It's very light touch what we need to do. And it's really important that our RDMs do not treat our 125 leased and tenanted businesses like one entity. Go and do this, and they don't. And it is a really hard job to be a
mm,
tenanted RDM, to understand what does each person need, who needs light touch, who needs significant support. Who do I draw a bit more property supporting for? Who do I get a bit more marketing
yeah,
supporting for? And there is not and the CAM survey shows it like through and through. There is not a one size fits all. If there was, this would be really easy. I wouldn't be in a job and life would all be good. And if it was one size fits all, life would be great. But it is that balance of listening to our business partners, understanding who they are, what they're trying to achieve out of it, because some of them are multiple operators that are trying to run 4 or 5 businesses and get something different out of the
mm,
pub than the person that runs one business, local community. They're the heart and soul of the community. They run all the community events, and actually, profit is a byproduct of what they're actually trying to achieve. They're trying to give their community something, and they'll do everything for their community. But there are other people who are, look, I just want to make a small amount of profit from this one because I've got 5 or 6 other
yeah,
businesses to run. And again, even in those examples, it crosses over and it's not straightforward.
no,
But we've invested a bit more into our marketing team. We have a new commercial director in the business and some more marketing support, which isn't, here is a poster that's going to
yeah,
help you put this poster up and your pub will be busy. We're
yeah,
long gone from
yeah,
those
oh yeah,
days, but running social media webinars once a month just to try and demystify some of it. I think around tech, especially,
mm,
and around some of the areas that we're trying to grow the business, just demystifying some of that for the
yeah,
business partners is what the RDMs and our job is.
yeah,
Because, I
yeah,
mean, if you look at my inbox, I get multiple emails from multiple tech companies the whole
yeah,
time. I don't understand them all. I don't understand the best ones. So how
yeah,
are our
yeah,
125 business partners going to do that? So what can we learn? What can we take from our learnings as a group, from other business partners, from our managed houses to give to our business partners to say, look, it's your choice what you do, but this is the research shows this.
yeah.
And that's how we
We've
use a lot
looked
of
into it, and here's what where we think that you could benefit, essentially.
And, and that's why a lot of the CAM research is super beneficial because it's not saying thou must do this,
No.
thou must do that.
Although
It
I
is
do
saying,
sometimes.
you do occasionally, Katie, and that's fine. But it is broadly saying, this is what other people are experiencing. And if you don't do this, don't come and complain to us because people want a low and no option. They want lighter food options. They want a differentiated offer. And I think part of our job is to take all the research that
Yeah,
we hear, we find, whether that be from a company like Cam or other business partners or managed, how do we then find a way to share that and simplify it in some way to give to our business partners? And we've tried to talk a lot more this year about being much more of a connected community.
yeah,
We are in this together.
yeah,
I don't want any business partner to come in, make a quick buck and disappear again
no,
in 1, 2 years' time.
no.
I don't want us to make a quick buck off a business partner and then be out on their ear in 2 years' time.
Yeah,
We've been going for 150 years. We want to continue running these businesses for a long time. And therefore, we need it to be that connected relationship between us and not landlord tenant.
no.
It's a connected relationship because if they do well, ultimately, we do well, and we want them to thrive and succeed.
And also, of course, when they do well, you do well, and customers are happy, which means that the great British pub industry continues to be a jewel in the crown of what the UK offers, essentially.
Absolutely. And not just at Wadworth, at many other of the great family brewers and other pub companies. There are
Totally.
amazing pubs out there and amazing, whether we call them publicans, licensees, whatever,
Don't
tenants,
start
business
me on
partners,
that.
don't get you started, Katie. Whatever we call them, there are some brilliant people out there.
Yeah,
Some of them need a lot of help and guidance. And once they're going, we can step back. And some of them just need really light touch support right from the off. And it's our job to try and balance that
yeah,
between what level of support they need and don't, because you can really patronize some really entrepreneurial
yes,
business partners if you go in saying, well, this is what you need to do. And they're like,
yeah, you must do
not,
this. Then, yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not sure you understand our business well. But more, other ones do need that more support to say,
Yeah,
look, I think you've got this wrong.
yeah,
And I think this is how you can do it better.
okay. Well, thank you. Finally, one just because I'm being nosy a little bit, really. But what's next for the L&T part of Wadworth? What's planned? I mean, are you converting any managed to L&T, any L&T to managed? Are you happy with where you are? What's the plan over the next 12 to 18 months?
So we did convert one business from L&T into managed last year, and that's been hugely successful. But that is not part of a sort of broad campaign to switch a load one way or the other. It's about assessing our entire estate, and we do it every year. We do a full estate review every year to establish what is the best model for each of these businesses.
Yeah,
Is it leased? Is it tenanted? Is it managed? Might we introduce a managed operator model, a franchise model? We had
yeah,
one 2015, 2016. Would we bring some of those back again? It's about assessing the entire estate equally to find out what's best to do. But what's really exciting from a lease and tenant perspective at Wadworth is we're starting to invest more into our leased and tenanted estate. And I don't mean into the roofs and into the fundamentals. We've done some big full-on investments where we've got rid of long-standing business partners who weren't right for the business. We found new entrepreneurial, exciting
excellent.
operators who can come in, and we've started to invest serious money into our leased and tenanted estate to help drive it forward. Now, with 125 businesses, you can't do all of that in one go. There's a long queue of investment. So with that comes its challenges
Yeah,
because when do I get done? What about
yeah,
me? What about my pub? But that's part of the challenge for me and the RDMs to
yeah.
balance that. But for Wadworth to be progressing as a company in the way it is, having moved to this amazing new brewery in Devizes to be able to drive our drinks offer forward, we can now actually start to look to genuinely enhance our estate in a
Mhm.
really exciting way to help drive the business forward, which is great.
And it is a little bit like painting the fourth bridge, isn't it? With a pub estate, you start, and then by the time you've finished, you've got through, you've got to do something else, and so.
Absolutely.
But
That's the
that's
excitement of it, though.
I
That's
was
great.
about to
That's
say that's
good.
the exciting
That's
bit, and
good.
that's the bit that keeps us all on our toes and keeps us interested in working in the wonderful British pub industry. Mark, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom. And for giving us a bit of an update on what's going on at Wadworth and for being a TLI fan. That's a big honour for me. So thank
You're
you.
very welcome and thank you very much, Katie. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.